All right, I'm excited to welcome everybody to Tallahassee Tuesdays. We are going to kind of dig into a property that Griffin, our agent in Tallahassee, shared with us last week. What I want to do first real quick, and I'll introduce who we've got on the call here, and then we'll kick it to them when it's appropriate and we get to that point. We've got Paul Massey with Samaritan Mortgage Group, who is by far one of the best that you could work with in the industry. He's our preferred lender. Him and his team are all local, and the best part about them is they're not just here in the state of Florida. They've got the ability to help other places, just like we do as Keller Williams agents. So going into this idea, it was crucial to have him on board with this, because not only can Samaritan Mortgage Group help you with your normal loans, buying and selling, they can help you investing, not just to write a loan for you, but they can also break down the numbers and understand what's good for you. And again, Paul's a lot like me in our mentality. We want to get to the right deal, not the deal. We want to get to where it's going to help you guys. We don't want to, push you through this unless it's the right one for you. So we take our time and go through it. And Paul's team with Chris is also a part of this. And there's a whole bunch of other people, but the best part about them is they're local. They're right here, and they work with us every single day. So it's a pleasure to have him on here as well. And we'll kick it to him here in a little bit. We've also got Griffin Broker online here, who is with our Tallahassee Turner Group. He is an agent in Tallahassee that comes with a wealth of knowledge on the property management side, as well as understanding leases and property management for properties, for investments, things like that. Griffin is here locally from Orlando, Florida, graduated Boone High School, went to Tallahassee, graduated in Tallahassee, and has worked in property management, and now recently shifting into a real estate role, obviously leading our efforts in Tallahassee with the Turner Group. So we're super excited to be able to talk to you about what the heck Tallahassee Tuesdays are. So this idea honestly was born through a sponsorship that the Turner Group has in Tallahassee with a podcast called On the Bench. Big proponents of those guys at 247 Sports. If you're an avid Florida State fan, go give them a listen. They do a great job keeping everybody informed. They're a lot of fun. Brendan, Zach, Chris, and the whole crew there does a really good job. And I was having a conversation with him about what was going on, what their rental, what their purchasing process was like. And I just blew my mind, the rent values that they're charging people coming up from other cities to live for part-time in the fall and the spring and then leave in the summer, etc. The average rent in Tallahassee, as you can see right here, is over $14,000 a year. Again, everybody wants to talk about interest rates. That's 100% interest rate on $14,000 a year. That is ridiculous, right? Because the average sale price in Tallahassee is right around $260,000 for a property. So that's what kind of kickstarted this process, reached into Griffin. Griffin was excited to get started with this. We've actually helped two of the Florida State football players there in Tallahassee find properties. We're excited to be able to help them through our 24/7 Sports initiative and through helping Florida State. Obviously, that's our number one goal. But it allowed us the ability to help students and families moving from other parts of the country, specifically our market here in Central Florida. And like I just said, the average sale price in Tallahassee is $260,000. It's $260,000. To give you a little reference, your Orlando average sale price is $358,000. And again, your Florida, if you take everything on average, is $377,000 for a sale price. Now, that takes a lot of things into consideration. Obviously, there's $9 million, $20 million sales all the way down to $45,000 sales. So you got to understand that's the average. But in Tallahassee, and the property that we're going to talk about, it's below what the average sale price is in Tallahassee. And it also is going to cash flow immediately, which that's what Paul will go over here a little bit. But the whole goal for what we want to do is to show you another option versus just getting put into the rat race, right? You immediately sign up with Florida State. You have to go live in one of the dorms. You sign up for all these food and beverage plans that they put you on, and you're paying for, it's like going to Disney. When you sign up to go on a Disney hotel or you're going to one of those resorts, you're paying the increased price because it's all going to be handed to you. The option that we're showing you here is to find a home that's going to fit within our parameters, put you into it for the next 5 years, have your child or your son or daughter take care of finding roommates and ensuring that it's filled. And if that's not what you guys want to do, we also have a property management process there with Griffin that we can actually manage the process. He can help manage the process from A to Z. So that's our idea in Tallahassee. The fun vernacular here of Tallahassee Tuesdays is what we've got going. I'm sure we'll figure out a Hogtown Wednesdays or something like that for Gainesville. But we'll do that secondarily because Florida State's better. So the home we're talking about right now that Griffin showed us last week. If you haven't seen it, you can go watch the walkthrough video on our Instagram and Facebook page. But the address is 2109 Old Bainbridge here in Tallahassee, Florida. It's a 7-minute drive to campus, and we use a very general point. Obviously, Florida State's, pretty wide, but it's not very big. It's not like University of Florida, which is 45 minutes from one side to the other. It's a 14-minute bike ride, and that's a drawing of a bike, if you don't know. I think I did pretty good. It's a 14-minute bike ride to campus. We know parking's an issue in Tallahassee, but at the end of the day, you have the option to do both. This property in general is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,248 square foot home. It sold in 2018 for $147,500. It's currently listed today for $242,999. Now, it's been on the market for a while. I think it's been on, I don't have that written down. I think it's been on more than 30 or 40 days right now. So that price is going to fluctuate. It just came down $6,000. Griffin, why don't you talk a little bit about the home in general, just kind of gloss over a little bit about it, the area of Old Bainbridge, and kind of what you see there in Tallahassee.
Sure, yeah, so the home located over off the Old Bainbridge Road, it is, a pretty nice area. There's a lot of, kind of old Tallahassee families that live over there. It's, fairly quiet area, and it's also going to be pretty convenient, especially, with the main goal being convenient to campus for this instance. But it's, pretty much a straight shot down Old Bainbridge. What I like about the area is, you're getting good value for the price of the home, comparatively to the area, which you do have to be careful about in Tallahassee. When you see these kind of lower priced homes, then, obviously the crime is, can be a concern in that area. I feel that it's a pretty safe, safe area, which is obviously subject to personal opinion, but
absolutely
there's
yeah, we can provide all of those stats for people, but a lot of students live in this area. It's also an established community as well, correct, Griffin?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I went over there myself and checked it out. Nice neighbors. That particular house is located right near a church. So I definitely do think that would be a good option for someone looking to get into a nice rental property that's definitely going to appreciate over time. That's still a highly kind of developing area. There's still a lot of expansion that's going on over there. So I definitely think that would be a good option, and definitely kind of represents a lot of the opportunities that are available. There's tons of houses that are, similar in size and price that are going up on the market almost daily here. So I think that property and specifically is definitely a good representation of a lot of the inventory that, we have becoming available. So.
And as Griffin just talked about, appreciation is a big thing to think about. There's a $95,000 spread from when they bought it in 2018 to what they're trying to sell it for. So obviously that all dictates where the sale price is going to hit. But if it hits at 80, that's still a pretty good deal over from 2018 to 2023, in my opinion. That's one heck of an investment. So the whole plan here is to show you a little bit more what we're doing. But the biggest thing here is your average rent in Tallahassee is $14,000. 2 years ago, it was $8,000. So once you start next year with your average rent at $14,000, where's it going to go the year after that, and then 4 years from when your child graduates? What are you paying in that fourth or fifth year? And that's what Paul's going to talk about right now. We're going to kick it over to him. He's going to share his screen. And just so you know, this document that he's created has a lot of information. He's going to touch on a couple of them, the more important facts on it. But the biggest thing is we can do this by rent comparison on any property that's there whilst we partner with Samaritan Mortgage. So something to consider what we're doing here. And if there's any information that you guys have on this or you want anything, let us know. We can get a deeper dive. We can schedule a one-on-one meeting with you. But for now, we'll go ahead and kick it over to Paul.
All right, guys, Paul Massey, thank you guys so much for having me. And first, let me say, like, before finding out about this and getting into the numbers with Colin, I didn't really know what to expect, right? And then once we got into the numbers, I'm here in Orlando. Compared to what somebody could find something for here at UCF, it's a gold mine. I think I'm probably going to be one of the first customers of this program, guys. So let me know if this place is still on the market after this phone call. But let me just jump into kind of what I created, and we'll see how it works, and I'll show you kind of the breakdowns of everything. And we really try to choose the most conservative approach on this. So let's get into it. We can send this to everybody after the phone call as well. So let me share my screen, and we will jump right into it. Okay, so this is our buying versus renting, because that's what everybody's trying to kind of figure out.
Paul,
while they're
your screen showing is the Zoom logo.
Oh, okay. How's that?
There you go. We got it.
Okay. All right. We're cooking with gas now. Okay. So let me jump into this. It's got a lot of data and it's pretty easy to get through. But this is exactly on the 2109 Old Bainbridge property, which was listed, right, guys, for $242,999, correct? And the first year, right here on the left, far left-hand corner, this is going to have what your mortgage payment is going to look like. And everyone right now is kind of hemming and hawing about interest rates. So I'm also taking into consideration what interest rates are today, right now, for this breakdown. So the worst case scenario is that if interest rates drop, which I'm kind of expecting that to happen in the next 8 to 12 months, and you can do a refinance with a 1% reduction, you're just going to improve your cash flow every month. So this is truly what we think is going to be a worst case scenario. So based on this property with 20% down, you've got your principal and interest here at $1,343. We've got your taxes and your estimated insurance at $351 a month, making your total mortgage payment $1,694 a month. And that's based on the interest rate today of 7.375 for investment property. We calculated about $2,000 a month is what it would cost, or what you would make in renting this out, and carrying renter's insurance of about $27 a month. Okay, we did this among a 5-year break even on this. Okay, guys, so average property, average kid going to school for 4 years, got an extra year in there just in case they do what I did, and it breaks everything down like that. And that's, again, worst case scenario, because what I would think is that you would own this property for 5 years, see how well it's done, and then kind of want to do it again, re-up for another 5 years. And I'll show you kind of how that doubles down on the bottom of this. So just your cash flow difference among renting a property for that 5-year period versus buying is a $37,512 difference. Okay, that's just the $2,027 a month versus the $1,694. It really, really adds up over 60 months. Your appreciation gain, it's $44,558. That's over a 5-year period, and that's based on 3.42. You can see it right there. Average appreciation rate. Now, if we listen to what Colin said a couple minutes ago, from the 2018 purchase to what they're selling it for now, that appreciation gain was a lot better, right? So that would just make this number, even more dramatic over the next 5 years if it just does the same thing it's done. Okay.
But again,
I'd expect that as most. What's that?
Paul, like you were saying, Paul, we want to be conservative, right? We had that COVID bump and all of that that's going on right there. But at the 3.42 is still a heck of a win.
Absolutely. So far we've got a cash flow difference of just over 37,000. We've got appreciation of 44,000, and we've got an amortization gain of 10,694 there on the right. And what the heck is that? That is just paying down your mortgage every month. So, the difference between rent, right? So that's another thing too, is with people thinking about these higher interest rates. If there's a property being rented, the interest rate is essentially 100% at that point, right? Because nobody's going to get any value over that. So 7.375, even though it's higher than what we've been used to for the last few years, it's still a heck of a lot lower than what it would be considered renting. So there's another $10,694. And this is also going to take into consideration not just the good things, but the bad things too. So let's say that you did sell the property in 5 years. You contacted the guys and said, "Hey, I want to list this thing." We considered a 6% commission, which is that $17,253 there, right? Also with this, we are considering zero tax benefit. I did that intentionally to be conservative, number one, but also number two is everybody's tax benefits and tax deductions are all going to be different, right? So rather than get into the weeds on that, I just considered it at a zero number. So you're always going to get to write off your interest, your depreciation, any management fees that you pay, all of those things, which is going to make a very large difference tax wise. But again, worst case scenario and kind of erring on the side of caution to be conservative, we didn't even take any of that into consideration here. So once you take into consideration the appreciation, the amortization, and the cash flow, your net gain for buying a home over a 5-year period is $67,010. And Colin and I were looking at rates for tuition for FSU, right? And we're like, wow, that almost pays for school, or maybe it even does in some situations, right? So that's pretty wild. Buy a house, go to school, it doesn't cost anything essentially at that point. Now, what I really wanted to pay attention to is outside of that $67,000, you can see this chart here, right? This shows an actual 10-year period. So we have our $67,000 number right here in the middle. Now, if you kept that property for another 5 years, that's where your money is really, really, really compound, right? So that's something to consider too, because the longer you hold on to it, just like with any real estate, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And sometimes it might be a situation where maybe you want to own more than one. This again also takes into consideration closing costs, right? It's got your cash flow difference and your cost to sell. So that's how it comes up with that net number. So there's no negative part to a transaction that this chart does not take into consideration. So this is net, 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 minus the tax benefit. So again, we will send this out to everyone as well. And any questions, you can always ask me about it, and I can run through the numbers again, more detail.
I'll scroll back down again real quick to the 10 years. So for families that are thinking about this, and again, I'm good friends of ours. I coach here at Winter Park. There's a lot of kids that go to Florida State and Florida that have multiple siblings. So if you've got an older sibling that's going to Tallahassee, he's there for 4 years. You've got someone coming right behind them. That's an easy way to get to your 8-10-year mark. And also, once you establish this house and have something there, you're going to have friends and family that live in the Orlando area that are sending their kids to Tallahassee. It's a very easy conversation to continue to have. The vacancy in Tallahassee is very, very low. Finding properties, Griffin, when he was helping these football guys trying to find their properties, which were, I think he was looking at average, he was looking at homes that were probably $1,500 a month, and some of them were 1-1s, right, that they were trying to get into. So we're using very conservative numbers with what we're doing here, because we don't want to promise you the moon and then land you in New Jersey, right? So our goal is to get you to where we can get you to and excel what we're talking about. So this idea works with a lot of different properties, but just keep in mind, if you kick out a $600,000 property, the rent's got to be able to match that. So you can't go find a $600,000 property, try to get $3,000 a month out of rent out of somebody or different rooms. So these are all very moving numbers. And we wanted to use a property that was considered under the value of sales in Tallahassee, like this one off of Old Bainbridge. Now, this property did just take a $6,000 price cut. They're trying to get into the lower bracket so more people can see it and to get it moving. But the good news is this is not the only property in Tallahassee that fits this mold or fits this price point. There's even lower in the high 100s that have homes that are good value. This is a 3.2. There's 4 2s that are available in this 250 to 260 range. So there's a lot of options that we can go through here. And the great thing about this is you've got a base here in Central Florida, but you also have a very good base in Tallahassee with Griffin. It's the same process that we run here. We can do a buyer's consult with you and your family here in Orlando, and then hit Griffin on the road to go find the properties. We can do video properties for you, walk you through the process to see what you're looking at in there, for you to understand what the home is. We can put a home under contract from Orlando in Tallahassee, get the inspection set, all of that. The good thing about buying a home, not only with the Turner Group and the Samaritan Mortgage Group, is that you get a long list of vendors of people that we have. We've been in the market for a very long time, and it would be very easy for us to kick those people into Tallahassee. So if we find the diamond in the rough, if Griffin goes out there and finds a property that needs a full rehab, we've got people that can go and take care of that before your kids get to school. Or on the flip side, if your kids destroy the property and you need someone to go up and fix it, we can go do that. Seems like hanging doors in all of the houses in Tallahassee is a must-have in those areas for after angry football games, I guess. But long story short, we've kept enough of these guys' time. They got busy stuff to do, but I want to make sure you guys understand that the Turner Group here in Central Florida, the #1 team here in Winter Park, is making its way to Tallahassee. We're excited about the partnership we have with Griffin in the Tallahassee market and expanding that way. And we're also very excited to continue to grow with the Samaritan Mortgage Group and to continue to move things forward. Everybody wants to talk about time to invest and where to invest. You don't need to live in the city to be able to invest into properties. We've got the ability to help you every step of the way on this. And if there's any questions, you can always reach out, and I can connect you with anybody here on the call, with Paul or anyone on his team, as well as Griffin. 407-403-8546 is the number. Would have been cooler if I wrote it on there a while ago, but I'm getting dizzy looking at it reversed. So 407-403-8546. You can also email us at getstarted@theturnergroup.com. Anyone on our team will be ready to help and get this thing rolling. So again, Paul, Griffin, I appreciate both of y'all's time and look forward to knocking these out. Paul, can you say go Knowles for us, Paul?
Go Knowles.
There we go. That's a Miami Hurricane fan there for you.
It didn't even come out right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
All right, y'all. Thank you very much.
Bye. Take care.